Gang.
All right.
Jared, glad to see you make it today.
Yeah, about an hour of snow blowing. I made it.
Okay, welcome to the press conference. We're going to start off with Coach Jake coming off of a big win over Evansville here at home. They are back on the road on Wednesday. So, Coach.
Thanks, Jared. All right, we'll go ahead and get started with your questions.
Well, Coach, obviously that second half against Evansville, you had that five of Spencer, Ty, Trey, Isaiah, Luke, that was really clicking. And I think that's probably one, maybe five of your better defenders. And to score 44 points in the second half with that group, do you feel like you need to roll them out together more? Or how do you kind of evaluate things going forward?
Yeah, you know, that game, we talked about with the guys a little bit in the first half, but I talked about it quite a bit at halftime, how physical that game was. And I thought Evansville did a very good job of, at both ends of the floor, playing defensively physical, getting between us and the basket, getting with some of the pin downs and some of the handoffs, fighting through those hard and forcing us to either not get a catch or have to go wider. And then in rebounding at both ends, I felt like Evansville was a much more physical team than we were. And so we talked about it a lot at halftime. And the group that you mentioned, the group that finished out the game, not only were they playing well, but that is for us, that can be a physical group. In particular, when you've got Ty, Isaiah, Trey in between the point guard and center positions. Those guys can switch some things, but more important than being able to switch some of the stuff, their ability to cover, be physical, rebound both ends, that was really important in that game. Had we not met that challenge in terms of Evansville being physical and really playing well, I thought because of it, we were not going to get all the way back in that game. So you really like that. As a coach and as a coaching staff, when you go to a group because you need to be more physical, and those guys come through in that area, but also, as you said, it's a 44-point half. We had some guys really play well, and Spencer was a big part of that. I know we talked about it, but Isaiah's stretch in that 4 or 5 possessions to get the game from, if we were down 9 or 10, to get it from there, he almost tied it. He was involved in all the possessions that tied it, whether he scored or he found somebody. So that's a good group. Yeah, that's a good lineup. And, with Ty, when I went back and watched the film, Ty was doing some of the things that Miles was doing. We put Miles into that starting lineup to add some defense and add some rebounding at the offensive end of the floor because Miles was so active. Felt like Ty had one of those games. I don't know how much Ty scored in that last 13 minutes, but he was involved defensively. He was involved in rebounding at both ends, and that was a lot of what Miles was giving us.
But when you look at what Spencer's done in your last 2 wins, he's come up with pretty big key plays down the stretch, and then how efficient he's been with his turnover numbers, and then defensively being able to come up with maybe a steal a game. Has he played himself into some more minutes at the point guard position?
Yeah, he's going to play. Spencer's going to play a lot. For the most part, he's going to play a lot every night, and I guess a lot can be. Whether that's 18 to 20 minutes or it's 28 to 30 minutes, he's going to play every night. And now it changes some game to game for him and for everybody a little bit. But there's no question when not only the scoring part of it, and he's played well down the stretch in the 2 games that you mentioned, the scoring part of it for himself and also the aggressive nature to which he's played offense has been important for our team. But his experience and his improvement, and you mentioned his improvement at the defensive end, has helped him play well. And then he's just got a little something to him, and I think the experience has helped him. But I also think it's his personality, that competitive streak that he's got. He's not afraid of any situation. And those are things that have really helped us, not just in the 2 wins, but at other times. And that, you need that on the floor. So what that means if tomorrow on Wednesday night he plays 22 minutes or he plays 34 minutes, I don't know that right now. He's going to play a lot. He's going to be heavily involved, but I don't know what the number is going to look like.
The Loyola team you're facing on Wednesday, how different has it been the one a year ago?
They're starting to come into that kind of form a little bit. They've got they graduated 3 really good players from last year's team. They return 3 that everybody's well aware of, and then Williamson and Skona and another guy or 2 that didn't play as much last year but were a part of that group. And then they've got some new guys, either had been in the program or are brand new to the program, that are starting their game against Southern yesterday. They looked a lot like what they looked like last year. In terms of their ball movement, they got Southern stretched out and they're driving it and forcing Southern to chase them around defensively. And then watching, in particular, their last 2 games, defensively they're starting to make a lot of those rotations that they were making a year ago as well. So I think a big part of that is, again, you've got a couple of younger guys. You've got a couple guys in the either starting lineup or in the rotation that weren't in the regular rotation a year ago. And it feels like those guys are starting to catch up at both ends in terms of the way they were so successful a year ago in moving the basketball. And then defensively, they were as good as anybody, as we saw, not just in our league, but anybody in the country. And some of those rotations are starting to show up. Some of the younger guys or newer guys have got some experience now, and as a group, they're starting to move in that direction.
Well, with Crutwig in particular, what are going to be the keys inside? Obviously, he's coming off a really nice game against Southern.
Yeah, that's a real challenge. He's at that size. He's so skilled. They can run their offense through him, which they do in the high post. They can throw it to him at that free throw line and not only run that offense through him, but he can turn and drive it and get himself to a spot at the basket where he can score. They throw it to him inside to get some touches with his back to the basket. If you play him single coverage, he's really good at getting an angle, and he's going to get a good shot. I think one of the biggest challenges with him is he's got such a good feel and he's such a good passer that when you bring a second guy, he's going to find the right guy more times than not, and so his versatility and his skill level at that size, and he's a competitive kid. That's quite a package when you're talking 6'9" and pretty mobile like he is. It's just it's a lot to deal with in one guy.
Is Custer still the guy that makes him go, though, the point guard?
Yeah, God, that's a hard one, Gary. All 3 of those guys right now, when I say the 3 most experienced guys that are back from last year, and they were all, obviously Custer was player of the year, and Crutwig was freshman of the year, and Towns was tremendous. So they were really good last year, those 3, but they're watching them this year. Those are the 3 that are making them go, and it'd be hard to. Custer's, he as their point guard. It feels like Towns has taken on some more leadership. You know how Richardson and Ingram, those guys provided a lot of leadership. It feels like Towns has taken on more of a leadership role, and that's maybe why I hesitate a little bit. Custer, he still makes them go. There's no question. But Towns has taken on a much more leadership than a year ago, which would fit and seem natural. And then Crutwig kind of silently is the wrong word because he's so effective. But it feels like it's Custer and Towns' team, but Crutwig's got the ball in his hands all the time. It's a pretty good dynamic with those 3 guys.
Do they bring a new challenge because of personnel that maybe that team that you faced a year ago and made the Final Four? Is there something new or different that'll be?
They're running a lot of the same stuff. They want to get it out and push it in transition. They don't send many guys to their offensive glass, so they get their guys back, so they really protect in transition. But they also want to see if they can't beat you and get an easy basket. So they want both ends of that. That's similar to last year. And then what they're running in the half court is very similar. Not a lot of changes to it. Still trying to get the same things. So they do. If you other than the 3 guys that graduated and the new guys that you put in for them, in terms of scheme and what they're trying to get, they look a lot the same. The personnel differences, of course, would be what they are. But as a group, they look a lot the same.
When you look at the week as a whole, obviously you follow up the trip to Loyola with Missouri State, who's been held their last 2 opponents under 40 points.
Yeah.
They're How tough of a challenge is this going to be for your offense here this week?
Yeah, Loyola. Again, is one of the better defensive teams, not just in our league, but around the country. And they played each other 2 games ago. So in watching that game, Missouri State is played a lot of three-quarter court, taking time off the shot clock, going back to zone. I don't know if it's a matchup type zone or if on some possessions they're in zone until it gets to a certain point, and then they're switching it to man. So they're giving you some different looks than what most nights you're going to see. You're going to see three-quarter court press. It looks like every made shot, and on all dead balls, they get back to that zone. It's some sort of zone / matchup where it feels like zone, it feels like man-to-man. And they did a great job with it against Loyola. That's the one I've seen most of Missouri State. They really had them off balance, and Loyola had a tough time getting to some of the things they wanted to get to. And I think that's because Missouri State's defense was so good.
Oh, you had Trey Croft back out there in warm-ups before the Evansville game. Is his suspension over, and what can you say kind of on his status?
Yeah, he's got a list of things that he's got to do on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, in order to get back to full practice. So he's back with the team right now. He'll get back to full practice if he meets the things that we've laid out for him. Well, again, there's some things on a daily basis, and it's going to have to be done over the course of a couple of weeks here. And then he will earn his way back into to being fully back with the team. And that the last step right now is to be able to go on the practice floor and practice with his teammates, and then also sit on the bench. And so there's some work that he's got to do to get all the way back. But he's off to a good start here this semester.
Biggie, what are going to be the kind of keys to working his way, getting a feel for him working his way back?
Yeah, threw him in there it was a short stint. Wanted to see if we couldn't get some things offensively and get him maybe stretched and get him into some offensive stuff. And he's been out of it for long enough now where defensively he's just not. We've got to get some more practice reps and just get him going where he feels like he's going live and has to make reads, and more so at the defensive end, so that we can get him back caught up to speed defensively, so we don't miss a beat there. So we got to get some more practice time for him, but feels good, healthy. Would love to get 2 good practices in today and tomorrow for him and get him back where he's available. We saw some glimpses of what he's capable of and what he can bring to our team right before he had the injury. So we're working hard to get him back up to speed.
Wednesday night, it looks like you'll walk into a little bit more rabid atmosphere. It looks like Loyola's drawn a lot better coming off that Final Four season. Yeah,
it does. Yeah, watching the games on film, it looked like they had a good crowd in there Sunday with Southern. But watching the games on the computer, their crowds have been noticeably different from this time a year ago until now. There's no question. What else? Good. All right, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, track and field coming off of a couple strong performances this weekend. Hosted the Jack Jenna Invite Open here at the Dome, and then went to the Black and Gold Premiere at Iowa City. This weekend they're going to have a split squad. Competitors are going to go to Notre Dame and also to Nebraska. But we have Coach Dave Paulsen here. Coach.
So our team's had a couple of opportunities this weekend to kind of push the needle forward and become a better team than we were a week ago, and we definitely got that done. We had a really outstanding home meets on Friday. Had some really good things happen there. Was really looking to see some improvement in some of field event areas, and the jumps was one of those areas, and our kids did a terrific job on that end. And then having an opportunity to go down to Iowa City and compete down there It was just a good time to kind of mimic like the Missouri Valley Conference type of a setup with 2 days of competition. So we had pretty much everyone running at home, competing at home, and then we took most everyone then to Iowa City. So it kind of simulated conference situation with prelims, finals, rounds, that kind of stuff. A lot of kids doing a lot of different things, and so they definitely rose to the occasion and showed us a lot of really good positive things going forward that we can build on it and try to get better. And so overall we had 15 performances that either improved in the top 5 rankings in the Missouri Valley, or they went unranked into the top 5. So that was nice to see. We had 5 top 10 performances all time in UNI school history, which is outstanding. You can put your name on that list. You're doing some really nice things there. And so just a few performances that kind of stood out to me. I love the way our shot putters threw on the men's side. They went down to Iowa City, and we're throwing against people that had better marks than them coming in. Iowa's got a good guy. Virginia Tech had a couple of real solid guys there, and we were able to finish first and second with Keegan Trital finishing second and Darius King with a win. And so it's not always about where you're at coming in, it's about how you compete. And so that's going to kind of be like a conference situation there. The throws is very deep in the Missouri Valley, and so to have the opportunity to get in the ring against guys that are better than you and then come out on top is excellent. Tayshawn Cooper had a great weekend. He ran the 60 at Iowa. He won his category in the 60. They had a couple different categories there. Ran a big-time lifetime best, sitting first in the Valley. And then Evan Long ran a really nice 400 down in Iowa and is sitting first in the MVC as well. On the women's side, Patrice Watson, freshman from us from Jamaica. She had a terrific hurdle race, puts her top 4 in the conference. And Lauren Beauchamp in the pole vault. She just continues to kind of get better every single week. She had another 3-centimeter PR, moved up on the all-time list there, and then moved up in the conference ranking as well. And we finished the weekend off with a 4x4 that ran really fast, sitting I think 19th nationally there, and so that's always a fun way to end the weekend when you can put a top 20 national time out there at the last event of the weekend. It's outstanding. So we head to Nebraska with a bunch of field event people this weekend, taking more of the track athletes to Notre Dame, see some different competition in those 2 places. As always, looking forward to getting better this week so we can set the stage. We're down the home stretch already, and so we just got a few meets left before we host the conference meet here and really see what we got going. So any questions regarding track?
What kind of teams are you going to be going up against at either of these meets this weekend?
Yeah, so when we go to Notre Dame, we see some schools from some of the East Coast coming in. We see some Big Ten schools there that we don't typically see, and a lot of mid-majors that are from the Ohio Valley area in there, and so that's kind of nice to see. And then over in Nebraska, we see teams from out west coming in. USC's been there in the past. Nebraska's got a really strong team, and so it's another great opportunity to get our kids around some top-level competition and lots of rounds again, so we're getting to the point where we have like a prelim and a semifinal for some of these races, and a lot of the kids are doubling back, and we're trying to run fast in the relays, and so it should be a pretty fun and exciting weekend. All right, go Panthers.
We have some beautiful tennis and track weather here lately, but we are into tennis season. They're playing over at the Blackhawk Tennis Club in Waterloo. They played North Dakota to earned a 5-2 win. This weekend they will again host at the Blackhawk Tennis Club against Southern Illinois Edwardsville. That's going to be Sunday at 11 a.m. But Coach?
Yeah, thank you. Always fun to play home and always fun to get the win at home as well. Really proud of our players. The week before we were in Omaha and lost a tough match to Omaha 3-4. And in that meet we lost a doubles point that came down to the wire, which became the really the final or the deciding point in the match since we split the singles. And so a little anxious going into the North Dakota meet with the doubles, because I know North Dakota, they play excellent doubles year after year. I've seen them play, and they're really good at doubles. So for us to get that doubles point was very exciting. And all 3 dubs played well. We unfortunately dropped the third a third spot, a close 5-7, but our two doubles were just on fire, winning 6-2. That was Caro and Proudfoot. And then our number one doubles went down 0-3 to start things out and battled back, went up 4-3, and then ultimately winning in a tiebreaker to get that doubles point. So very happy for them. Always good going into singles with that point, boosting our confidence. And we just, all 6 matches, we played really well in singles. Dropped the 2 spot, Toledo, tough match for her. She battled, lost close in 3 sets, and then 5 at Cape Merrick, lost, but real close, 7-5, 7-5. And then, getting the wins at the other spots. Lynch at number 1, I know it was really good for her to get that win at the number 1 spot, and then Proudfoot at 3, winning in 3 sets was very good, and then Phillips at 4, winning in straight sets was awesome, and Caro a tough match at number 6, getting the win. So that was really nice meet for us, really good for our confidence, and another home meet this Sunday, against Southern Illinois, Edwardsville, and practice hard this week, and we'll be ready. Any questions for tennis?
And you talked about getting confidence with the doubles point. How much confidence do you get as a team where, that doubles match comes down to a tie break, you got a couple of singles matches with tie breaks? How big were winning those kind of sets to getting the win as a team? Yeah,
real big, because honestly, our doubles has been our weak spot. And then, and I was just telling them how good they were at doubles North Dakota, and for us to get that win and to battle back, especially our one dubs, 0-3 down. We're playing 1 set to 6, and to be down 0-3 is a huge hole. So for them to just hang in there and just keep battling, get that win, that was huge for us, huge confidence, and it really carries over to our singles. Knowing, we still got to take care of business in singles, but pressure's off. We don't have to win, 4 out of the 6. We can at least split the singles and get the win. So definitely a boost in our confidence, and very good for us. Anything else? All right, thank you.
All right, women's basketball. Coach Tanya Warren is here. Panthers are coming off of a pair of wins on the road, big ones. So at Evansville, they went through the first quarter without allowing a field goal. We're up 22-1 after the first quarter. Kept up the defensive prowess against Indiana State, earned a 71-51 win there. So 2 20-plus point wins on the road this weekend. Another tough slate at home. We have on Sunday Missouri State, who is undefeated so far in the conference, and then Friday night, as long as the weather doesn't freeze us out before then, we have a tough game against Southern Illinois as well. So Coach Warren will let you go.
Every game's tough, Jack.
Every game's tough.
Great weekend. Extremely proud and very pleased of, again, the adaptability and the versatility that our team showed. Going into Evansville, with Evansville literally starting 4 guards, we matched that and got off to a terrific start, especially defensively. I thought we got contributions from everybody on our bench. Really loved how we defended. I thought we was urgent and efficient from start to finish. We talked. We were scouting report detailed. Very, very good on both ends from start to finish. And like I said, I thought we got productivity from everybody, especially our bench. I thought Abby was terrific. I thought Nicole starting gave us a great lift. Michaela's playing extremely well. And then, I thought our bigs, considering they played a small lineup for a majority of that game, and then when they went to their big 6-2, I thought our bigs did a nice job of coming in. We dominated the glass. We talked. Our shot selection was good. We was extremely efficient, which was really good to see. Then obviously Indiana State's always a tough place to play. They're very, very good, especially defensively. I was really curious to see if we could switch our minds back to our original lineup. I thought our bigs were terrific. Taylor Hagan was outstanding on both ends. I thought Bree was outstanding. Rebound, I think she had 10. Taylor had a career high 18 points. I thought our guards were good. Carly was efficient from the field, struggled a little bit with handling the basketball and turnovers, but that's going to come. But really, really liked how we played as a team in both games this weekend. We're excited, no question. I get a little frustrated when people talk about every game's tough in this league, whether it's on the road or at home. Every game's tough, and as we talk about on an everyday basis, it is our responsibility to make sure we come every single day to get a little bit better than the day before, and that will continue to be our mindset as we prepare for a very good Southern Illinois team who has one of the best post players in the league. They're also extremely well coached. They have very good guards. They create a lot of matchup difficulties with what they do offensively. They're also going to get up and pressure. It's going to be a lot like what we saw this weekend with Indiana State. So we're excited to get back home, get a little bit better, continue to progress. I love the progression this team has made, and it's important that we get back home and we continue to get better and understand what has allowed us to continue to get better, and that's staying locked into doing the little things, staying together as a team, and really coming to practice to get better every day. Any questions?
Back at Media Day, you mentioned how versatile this team could be if it stayed healthy. Even with a couple people out, how pleased you've been with the versatility and the production that this team has shown?
I've been extremely pleased. I talk a lot about you find out a lot about yourselves when things don't go your way, when you go through some tough times. And there's no question this team has gone through some adversity, as a lot of teams do. But I'm always and extremely proud of how our teams have been able to handle that. I think this team has done a tremendous job. I think Alyssa Iverson, who was out early, missed a lot of practice, had a great weekend for us, and it started last week with her in practice. If we can continue to understand what it's going to take, I like the progression this team has the potential to continue to make. And what allows this team to be good is you never know who it's going to be. We have that kind of depth.
How good was the defense this past week, particularly looking at Carrie Gasper being held without any field goals and just 5 free throws, and then Ashley O'Neal being held scoreless?
We've had some really good defensive outputs, and this was probably one of our best since I've been here. I thought this team was extremely focused. I thought they were urgent. I thought they were locked into scouting report details, and it wasn't just one. It was every person who came in, and that's something that we talked about after the Drake game and really locked in practice, and those are things that we will continue to talk about this week, because it matters. Every little details, it matters.
What stood out about Taylor Hagan's floor game in particular there against Indiana State?
Well, she was extremely aggressive. She really found a body when posting up. She took what defense gave her. She didn't force when she was double. She kicked out. She had a lot of poise and a lot of patience. Just a tremendous, tremendous effort. And again, it's something that we've been talking to our posts about. And it really showed in practice. And we made a great jump. And to you guys, it doesn't matter. But when you can make a jump in practice like we did last week, if we can continue to stay locked in and understand it can't happen after you get embarrassed in the fourth quarter, it's got to happen every single day, and understand the importance of that, we have a chance. Again, I like their coachability, and I like what they bring on an everyday basis.
You mentioned Southern Illinois, the second game of the weekend against Missouri State. What's allowed them to be so successful, and what type of challenge will they provide there?
Missouri State?
Yep.
Missouri State, they're very well coached too. But honestly, I think Gitson has made a tremendous jump. Everybody's always talked about how good she is defensively, and they are very good defensively. And she leads them. But she has really become very good offensively. She shoots the three with great efficiency this year. She takes what defense gives her. You have to guard her. As a matter of fact, there's not 5 kids on the floor that they put on the floor that you can help off of. So you're really going to have to be locked in. They have good posts. They have good size. They have a freshman post that's putting up good numbers. That's extremely athletic. They rebound well. They're very physical. They really do. They remind me a lot of Indiana State. So again, we're going to have to put on our big girl pants and come ready to play Friday and Sunday.
These 2 games will wrap up the first trek through the league. Just how do you feel about your team, where you stand, and just the overall league? You've got to look
well,
at
I think from top to bottom, the league is much improved, and we knew it was going to be when you had so many young kids coming back. Obviously, Drake is Drake, and in Missouri State, it played a really tough non-conference schedule. They only lost 1, maybe 2 kids out of that group a year ago. So you knew once we got to league play, they were going to be ready. I think Loyola is much improved. I think Indiana State with the new staff is much improved. I think Illinois State's much improved. Southern, I think you can go on down in it. You can tell it in how teams have done in the non-conference with the wins. I feel that our team, considering that we lost Megan, you're talking about all conference and what she's able to do offensively, and then all defense, what she's able to secure for us on the defensive end. I consider the fact that we lost her, this team has responded extremely well. And that's what I expected. I didn't expect us to respond any other way. It's an opportunity. It's a challenge. And this team has responded exactly how I want. We're going to continue to get better. I like our progression. I like what our bench is starting to give us, and I've talked a lot about that. But I really like the contributions we're starting to get, not only from our upperclassmen, but from our freshmen as well. Any other questions? Stay warm.
All right. Finally, Coach Schwab. Big win against Oklahoma yesterday. They're back on the road at Oklahoma State. 2 teams that are undefeated in the Big 12. So, Coach Schwab.
It's a little tougher sprinting across from the West Gym today. Had to go through some drifts, so let's see a couple notes here. I think it's important that when guys achieve something that you recognize it. Josh Elber got his 100th and 101st win this weekend. I think 20th wrestler in UNI history to be able to do that. So obviously his career's not done. Wants to get a whole bunch more, but just longevity of a career, staying, knock on wood, staying healthy, but just showing up to wrestle every single time. It's not easy to do in Division I wrestling, so I want to make sure we acknowledge that and recognize him, and tell him just keep that streak going. Might as well finish with about 14 to 15 more. Schwab went to the top 10 in pins, 29 pins. It's good. Bonus points are huge. Bonus points are big for the team, but also just get our team started in the right way, being 25-pounders. So he's top 10, and I know he certainly wants to shrink that number throughout this next year plus. I want to thank everyone for coming out. Fun atmosphere, man. When you get guys on their backs, or you just have, I guess, some inspired wrestling, the fans appreciate it. And even though it was cold, one thing, it might be cold or sub-zero outside, but I can tell you it's always going to be nice and toasty in the West Gym. So, again, we appreciate those who came out. Look forward to being packed house. So we have one more dual meet at home, the 21st against Iowa State. Certainly want that place bursting at the seams, because we haven't had that yet this year. So we certainly want to do that to send our seniors out the right way, but also to welcome Iowa State to town the right way. I got a few duels in front of that. Oklahoma State this week. Talk a little bit about the weekend, but really you kind of turn the page pretty quick of getting to the next duel and get ready for Oklahoma State. We were able to get a couple guys back in the lineup that have been out for a little while. Peyton Moore and Carter Isley. Good to have those guys back out there competing, see where they're at. Thought both guys had some really flashes of good wrestling. Sometimes you got to work yourself into shape a little bit being out there. You're not always going to be ideal and perfect and have it exactly the way you want it before you have to step out there. But both those guys did a great job of that. Peyton did a great job of, hey, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to compete. I'm going to see where I'm at, and I'm going to compete my tail off for 420 seconds, and we'll see how it goes from there. Isley hit some really good attacks, rode hard, and got a pin on Friday. Some emotion from him. It was good to see that. Good to see he got excited to be back out there and kind of remember how it feels to put the hammer on somebody and to go get a pin and get the crowd up on their feet and erupt a little bit and remember that, because sometimes you get away from it, you forget, and really enjoying those moments. A lot of work's put into those, a lot of preparations put into that time. So was happy to have those two guys back. As far as the weekend, Schwab had a great weekend. Did a good job, beat a top 20 guy on Friday, and then a little bit of back and forth match on Sunday where he got put down really hard. So good job on that guy, putting him down, but even a better job for Schwab to be able to recover. And got to a leg attack at the end of the first period, put him on his back. Then they were kind of back and forth. He was almost on his back. That guy had him on his back. I think there was about 20 points put up in the first, about 3.5 minutes of that match. So I think from a fan's perspective, it's pretty fun to watch that guys are just kind of letting it fly out there. And then able to secure the fall and, get things rolling, kind of get him rolling a little bit too, where, you start to put that chain together. So it's multiple performances in a row, and his breast wrestling is certainly in front of him. Jack just got to continue to stay on his offense, trusted. I think he's wrestling a good pace, and we're going to continue to get him to improve his pace. He did a good job of getting off bottom. He'd been struggling a little bit getting off bottom, was able to get off bottom twice yesterday against Oklahoma. Guys pretty good on top. So some of the places that he's putting time in, he's getting better. Just got to be able to, in a split middle, be able to secure and make an adjustment there. And I think, you make one adjustment there, you wins the match. And he has a 2-0 weekend instead of a 1-1 weekend. But those are sometimes young guys, learning experiences, obviously getting out there. He's still a freshman, and he's continuing to get better. 41, 2 good wins, got his, 101st win, beat a top 10 guy. Demas is dangerous in some positions, upper body. Albert did a good job of staying out of some of those positions. They were certainly waiting on his slide by. He was able to score right at the end of the first, but thought Albert hit a couple really, really high-level attacks. Took a little bit of time to finish, but he stayed on the finish like a dog on a bone and got the finish, and then was able to ride him out about the last 50 seconds of that match and really close it out. So good win by him. Max putting points on the board. Love seeing Max put points on the board. Love seeing him turn guys, because he's a hammer on top in the room and just turns guys all over the place. And that was something that I've been talking about. Hey, need to start turning guys out in competition. Time to start turning guys out there. And the guy from Oklahoma, throughout his whole kind of career of his wrestling, had a lot of struggles with that guy, and that's the worst he's ever beat him. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing for Max, something for him to certainly build off of. Going out and getting bonus points in both matches. Really good. Peyton, 1-1, good to get him back out there. I'll say one thing about, Schoenfelter. Schoenfelter in this morning, working, getting better. He's ready for his opportunity if it comes again, and he's going to continue to push Peyton. And that's important, that you have guys that, even if they're not the guy, they're disappointed that they're not out there, that they have a bigger picture in mind, that they're still going to improve and get better and know their opportunity. If it doesn't come this week, it's going to come next week. If it doesn't come next week, it's going to come next month. And then if it doesn't come next month, it's going to come next year. So you got to continue to really stay focused on what you can control and continue to improve and get better and be relentless at that pursuit of trying to improve. And, you know, so he's doing that right now. The things that we talk about as a team, and I'll tell you the things that we're talking about as a team, about kind of gritting up and toughing up and hustling through positions, that's what's happening out there in competition. So happy with how we're competing. Steyert, short match on Friday, you know, short match on Sunday too. Being a hammer on top, and if anybody, you know, would have probably told you that Bryce Steyert's going to ride legs this whole year and he's going to be grinding guys to pieces on top and scoring all those kinds of points, I think people would probably be like, nah, I don't know. I've watched him wrestle before. I never saw that out of him, but, you know, he's adding to his game. And really, really good job by him finding another way to score points, but just taking it out of guys. I mean, really just taking the life out of them. So good with him. Lujan, scoring points. You know, yesterday was an exciting match. I think people probably enjoy watching, you know, when there's 20-plus points put on the board. I like it when it's kind of back and forth, but then it stops being back and forth. So it doesn't stay like, maybe it's back and forth for, you know, for a period, or kind of there's a little bit back and forth, but then it just becomes us. Then it becomes, you know, where it's one-sided. And that's where, you know, he can get that out. I'll say that dude's dangerous. I mean, holy cow. He'll put you in some compromising positions. And I don't know if you saw Taylor got thrown. I don't think there's many guys that one could have got out of that like he did. You know, the thing was, he get thrown on his head and everyone's like oohing and on, and the next thing you know, he gets right off his back and right to reversal. So he kept wrestling through it, and that's, we talk about even if something happens, you get thrown to your back, you get taken down, continue to wrestle right out of it. And he exemplified that. That's what we want to see happen, and he did it. So, you know, good for Taylor. Yant, stay in the offense. You know, that was a big thing on Friday night. You know, we gave him an opportunity. Work just got to get him fresh. So, you know, there's nothing physically wrong. You saw him yesterday, but some guys are workhorses, and some of them are a little bit more of a quarter horse. And sometimes when you got a quarter horse, you give him a little bit of more time. And you know what? And he was good with it. That's the thing, is that, you know, he's a senior, and you want to go out there and wrestle, I'll let you wrestle. We think it'd be good for you to. It's okay if you take Friday off, and we get you ready for the stretch run. And he was good with that. But Drew's hitting incredible attacks. Love how he's competing. I'll tell you, Tyrell, man, the breakthrough's going to come. He's just got to continue to trust it. He's got to embrace. Even though you're losing right now, there's still growth happening. You can't replace being out there in front of the lights. You can't replace this experience that he's getting right now. I mean, I know obviously he wants results to come right away, but results aren't an instant thing. And that's one thing great about the sport, is it's not instant. There's not a whole lot of maybe instant gratification as far as wins, but like I was talking about with Pat a little bit, just, you know, your time's going to come. So keep swinging until that rock breaks. And Tyrell's going to continue to do it. Got to remember, he is a true freshman. So he's learning on the fly right now. And now the big thing for him, and that we continue to say, is just go out and continue to make improvements. Give yourself an opportunity to win those matches. I'll give that guy credit. Yesterday he kept attacking him, and Tyrell made it really hard for him to score on him. But I mean, that guy kept attacking him and was able to get a takedown and then, you know, get a stall call. But I know he's only going to continue to improve and get better. He's just got to continue to embrace what we talked about when we brought him out of redshirt. Is, hey, I'm so excited just for how much I'm going to grow, how much I'm going to get better, the experience that I'm going to get, and not get so caught up into the wins and losses, but look at the big picture of, hey, I'm still growing and competing, and his best days are going to come too. I'm telling you, that weight class is probably the deepest weight class maybe in the Big 12 right now. Looking at the first rankings, there may be 9 guys that qualify at that weight. So he's gonna have an opportunity to put himself in that tournament. I know it, and it's not like he's getting blown out of the water by these guys, you know. But being able for him to go get an attack, and that's something these next 7 weeks that going to continue to improve and work on, and he'll start making that adjustment and start getting to him. So and Isley competed well. I'm excited for our team. certainly hitting. Well, this is when you want to kind of start to be hitting your stride. And we went through a pretty tough stretch, and so we got some tough individuals where I think we had 6 weigh-ins in about 17 days, and had a travel, a late night, a travel. We get back late. Next week we have a short week. We travel again, and then got home for 3. But if guys were a little bit tired, it's to be expected with the schedule that we had. And you know what? You still got to be able to battle through it. You still got to be able to control what you can and go out there and compete in a certain way. And I thought guys did that, and I thought they did it well. And we're only going to continue to gain steam throughout the rest of this season. Got a big opportunity this weekend with Oklahoma State. The highest ranked team, obviously, in the Big 12, and up and down the lineup, they are solid. Got a top 5 guy at 25, 33, 41, maybe top 12. The 49-pounder that they had in that was an All-American last year is hurt. Just got hurt again yesterday. They had another guy that stepped up from 41 to 49 that's in the top 5. 57, 65, don't know if the 65-pounder is going to be back. 74, he's in the top 5. Top 10 at 84, top 10 at 97, top 5 at maybe top 2 or 3 at heavyweight. So, up and down lineup, it's a really good team. But that's the type of team that we're going to have to be able to beat. I mean, those are the type of teams. If you want to be one of the best teams in the country, you got to be able to beat the best teams in the country. So we get an opportunity this week. I know that they'll be ready to compete up and down that lineup, and I know that we'll be ready too. So we look forward to the opportunity going down there, going down to Gallagher for the second year in a row. But other than that, I know that we'll be prepared and ready, and be ready to scrap for 420 seconds every single match.
What did you learn from the Missouri match out there that can help you in that environment, going to face one of the nation's top teams there at Oklahoma State?
I mean, the big thing is guys aren't going to fall over. I mean, we've said that all year. Like, you have to make it incredibly tough in every single position. And when you give, and not saying you give guys things, but if it's an easy score and then there's not a return, like there has to be, if you take a blow, you got to be willing to take a blow and give one right back. If you just continue to take, it's going to be really hard. It's going to be really hard because those guys are good, and some of those guys, they're going to step out there expecting that they're going to beat you. I'm expecting I'm going to beat you, and then all of a sudden they take something and it's like, well, yeah, I expect to beat you, then I'm just going to steamroll you now, instead of, hey, man, he kind of comes out and he lands one, then we got to be ready to land one back. And you got to be able to answer. You got to be able to answer those guys, the best guys, and you got to be able to keep yourself in the match. And that's, Missouri, like you asked about Missouri, there was some matches where we got so far behind that we didn't even give ourselves a chance. And a good competitor's going to make it really hard for you to get back in that match. So why not go out and score first, or you go out and you keep it really tight, then you give yourself that opportunity to win. And with the best guys in the country, which we want to be, we want to shrink some of our numbers at some of our weights, or we want to solidify ourselves as a national title contender. We're going to have opportunities up and down the lineup this week, down there at Oklahoma State, because they like I said, I mean, I went through their lineup. They got a heck of a team, but I like our team too, and I'm excited to see these guys compete, and I want to see us raise our level. It's time to do that. It is time to show that, well, they're a pretty good team. No, we need to show that we're a great team, and so that means you have to have 10 guys. We can't just have, we got 6 guys that are ranked. We got to have those other 4 guys be able to step up too. And sometimes you do have to be able to minimize things. Sometimes you do have to be able to keep things close and then give yourself a chance. And sometimes you got to be able to slow a guy down in a certain position. But the best way that we slow guys down is staying on our offense and attacking and punching first. And that's what we're going to work to do. We're going to go and work to punch first. That's what we're going to tell our team. And that doesn't change. It doesn't change who we wrestle though. This is just, to me, it's a enemy territory is always fun to compete in. I don't know. I really enjoy that. Always have. Always kind of like being the underdog in a situation, and I know they'll have a good crowd. They have a great following, great history, and we respect that. But we as a team, as a staff, are going to be prepared and ready to wrestle 420 seconds each and every match. Anything else? Nope. All right, go Panthers.